من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلاق الأجمعين والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين وخاتم النبيين حبيبنا وحبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى طيبين الطاهرين معصومين ولا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين ولأن الدائم على أعدائهم أجمعين إلى يوم الدين. اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني من نور الفهم. اللهم افتح علينا باب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن العلومك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. Assalamu alaikum to the brothers and sisters and esteemed scholars. Alhamdulillah, Hazrat Zahra Salamullah alayha has bestowed upon us to be able to speak about shahadat and the concept of shahadat, which is very important. As I mentioned before, it is woven within Shiism and Shia theology, this concept of shahadat. It is woven within the ideology of the Quran. It is also parallel to another concept, which this transition that I wanted to make from shahada to another concept is not one that is not related. We are going to transfer ourselves into another topic. However, this topic is very related to the topic of shahadat, and that is suffering. This philosophy of suffering, this concept of suffering. Now, suffering is something that we have all been able to see firsthand practically in our lives. Suffering is not something alien to us. Either we experience it on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, a yearly basis. It is also very crucial to the concept of Abu Abdullah Imam Hussein. Because as all of you are aware, Karbala has a lot of suffering. Yes, true, ma ra'aytu illa jamila. However, that doesn't take away from the concept that it has suffering. Now, this concept of suffering is one that even within the philosophy of the West is talked about. If you pick up any philosophy of religion book, one of the key components of this is a problem of suffering. Firstly, I want to set the scene. What do we mean? What is the question? What is the initial question, the central question that we want to try and answer? The central question is this. Number one, we have a God who we call Allah that is all beneficent, all merciful, all knowing, all powerful. All of these characteristics, Huwa al-Asma'ul Husna, has all the names, all the great names, all the great characteristics in abundance. Yet we still see suffering and problems in the world. Now, as I mentioned in the previous lectures, this is more a problem in the Christian world or other religions. In Islam, not so much so. Why do I say this? Because if you look at the history of Islam, this issue hasn't been as big as it has in the Christian world. Maybe because we've suffered a lot. As Muslims, from the very beginning, we've suffered a lot. Maybe because of that. We've got used to this concept. From the beginning of the life of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, please recite salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. All the way to Amir al-Mu'mineen and then Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, which is at the zenith of this suffering. And then slowly we go to the other imams and they have their own fair share of suffering. Now why? Why is this concept? Why does this concept exist when we have such a God with all the names that are all good and there is no badness in any of them? Why? We can look at this problem in many ways from different perspectives. We can have an ontological perspective. We can have an anthropological perspective. we can also have a pragmatic perspective. Now, what I'm saying is, I don't want to go into all the philosophical parts. We will focus on the anthropological. Why? Because as humans, we have in contact with insan, with humans, and ourselves, and that is the most important one. But however, just to set the scene, we have to look at it holistically, and then we will go in specific in one of these. Because this problem has been mentioned or has been tried to be answered by giants such as, for example, Shaykh Rais ibn Sina, other theologians, the Ash'aris, the Mu'tazilis, outside of the Shia world, by Ghazali, by other philosophers. And all of them have different answers to this question. For example, Ibn Sina has this worldview that this is the perfect world. Nizam al-Ahsan. The perfect world. And within this perfect world, he thinks of it in an optimistic way, where the whole universe is designed in a way, and this design is the best way possible. If we look at the works of Allama Tabatabai, we can see that if we adopt his philosophy, and I mean in specific his substantial motion, we can see actually this world is a world of becoming. One of the answers. This world is a world of becoming. What do I mean by that? Why am I using this word? And the answer is because this world is constantly shifting to another world. It's becoming something else, and still it is the same at the same time. And this is not contradicting in itself. It's a world that is becoming. Meaning the changes of this world is very normal. Another, we have one existence. This world as one existence, as one sheet of existence, a fabric of existence, it changes. Therefore, from an ontological perspective, you might see it as suffering. But if you look from up down, there is no suffering. All you see is a shift in the universe, changing from one thing to another. When you look at it at a fundamental level, you see there is no difference. It's shifting. Yes, when you look at it in particular, you might see one world is being destroyed and another is being created. However, that is what life is. That is what the world is. The world is becoming. You cannot stop that. If you would stop that, that would be true suffering. We want to shift it to the other way. If it does not change, it is suffering. Why? Because then there is no growth. There is no becoming. That is the ontological perspective. My focus wants to be on the anthropological perspective. And Allama Tabatabai in his works has this in abundance, in different risalas that he's written, and in specific in Al-Mizan, which is truly a garden of knowledge. This book is a garden of knowledge. Many of you have seen all the books that, for example, an individual like Shahid Mutahari has written, all the lectures that he's given, the beautiful books that have come from this scholar, truly a scholar of religion. He himself says, all of my works, you can find the main string. If you take the string of these thoughts, the main part, the source, is in Al-Mizan. Meaning he's a student of Al-Mizan. That's how important this book is. Now under one of the ayahs, لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي الْكَبَدِ, this beautiful ayah, this important, extremely important, only a few words, but it has a world of meaning. That we have created and certainly created humans within or with, depending on how you want to translate it, suffering. The Holy Quran wants to completely shatter this ideology that this suffering has an issue with the Almighty Allah. Completely shatter. He said, listen, O my creation, I have created you with suffering. Do not think you can escape this suffering. Remember this in our own lives. When their suffering comes to me, think of this ayah. Yes, Allah has created you with suffering, meaning there is no escaping it. The Quran is saying this. You as human beings have been created with suffering. So when you're in trials and tribulations, you can understand that yes, within this is what Allah has intended. It's not as if He's turned a blind eye to me. No, that's not the case. He's saying it to you, I've created you like this. Another beautiful ayah that He says, خَلَقْنَا مِن تِينٍ, with earth, with mud, with clay, however you want to translate it. Remember, this clay, this sand, this earth has a lot more suffering than the other elements within the universe. See, within the earth there is pressure. With earth there is heat. Diamonds are formed. You don't find diamonds in the sky. These hard stones are created with suffering. So human beings must adopt this suffering, and therefore, after this has been adopted in their life, yes, they can move to a creation or a status of creation that is above and beyond what they even fathomed. And it doesn't make a difference for women or men. Actually, in brackets, I should say this, and it will make the sisters happy, but the sisters, women, actually can withstand more suffering than men can. Historically, Islamic history, within suffering, they can actually endure more. And sometimes they are alone within this. We have, for example, narrations that a man can move mountains if her wife is behind her. But we don't have the other way around. As in, yes, a man that behind him is his wife, he can move mountains. The strength, where does the strength come from? We should cherish these in our lives. It is with the power of this creation of Allah, which is women. That's where the power comes from. The birth of a human being. The endurance they can withstand and still move forward. We see this in the life of Hazrat Zainab, salamullah alayha. A beautiful narration from Imam Sajjad alayhi salam says that my aunt Hazrat Zainab, all the way from in Karbala, when they were taking her towards Sham, not one Salat al-Layl was missed. Now forget about normal prayers. In that suffering, in that problems, in that truly pressure of losing all the ones that she loves, yet still her remembrance to Allah, her plan that she must follow, the time she must take away and dissolve herself in Allah Azza wa Jal is not forgotten. This is a power of a true woman, of an individual that is truly a symbol, a hero for not just women, but men as well. A role model that we should all adopt. Now with suffering, there comes levels. Allah will not give you suffering that you cannot take. This is a fact. It's within our hadith. Not only this, but a beautiful narration from Imam Baqir alayhi salam says that Allah's gift to a mu'min, remember this when you have issues in your life, Allah's gift to a mu'min is suffering. Just like a gift of a father when he leaves and comes back from a long journey to their children gives gifts, the same way Allah gives gifts to the mu'mineen. What gift does He give? Suffering. Now some individuals will come and say, I don't want this love. I don't want this. But you must take it. It's not a matter of you wanting or not wanting. If you become a mu'min, yes, this is the case. Well, now, wait a minute. Isn't it that we have suffering also when we do misdeeds? Yes. You make a sin, quickly you will taste the misdeed that you did within your life. Now, how do I differentiate between this? How can I understand that one thing is because of my misdeeds and one thing is because of actual suffering because I'm a mu'min? How do I differentiate? The easy answer is you cannot. You have to self-reflect. We're getting very practical here. Self-reflect. Have I done anything wrong? Play out my life, play out my day. If I have, do istighfar for it. Apologize for it. Become upset. Try and fix that problem. If it's haqqul nas, if it's haqqullah, fix it. And try not to repeat it. However, if nothing comes to mind, yes, you do an istighfar, a general istighfar, and then you go about your life. You go about trying to fix it. Logically, it doesn't mean you must stay in suffering just because it's a gift. It doesn't mean that you have to stay within the suffering. Actually, in actual matter, it means that when suffering is given to you as a gift, it means this is the opportunity for you to grow. Now, all of us have noticed this within our lives. As soon as we want to be good, we're like, from today, I want to be good. I'm going to pray salah on time. I'm not going to get angry. I'm going to control myself and my family with my friends, so on and so forth. As soon as that happens, or sometimes I go to a majlis, I cry for Abu Abdullah. A lot of things happen that are good. Straight after that, a problem arises. Family, friends, other places, to get me angry, to get me away from that situation. See? Does that happen on a normally? If your life is normal, does that happen? No. When does it happen? It happens when you're trying to go on the right path. Yes, there will come trouble. Through that trouble, you will grow. The wrong understanding is that, yes, I improve with this prayer. I pray, I do salat al-layl, I read the Quran, and then this is what is increasing my spirituality. That's not the case. What you have done, the ibadat you have done, is supposed to help you in the suffering. How? It means that within the suffering, how are you going to act? What action are you going to take? Are you going to take the action that is correct, that Allah wants you to take, or not? For this, you need help. For this, you need meditation. What's your meditation? Salah. What's your meditation? I read the Quran. I read munajat. I cry to Abu Abd. I cry to Allah. Please help me in my endeavors. Please help me in my day-to-day lives. Why? Because if I do not have your help within me, of course I will go into sin. Of course I will make mistakes. But I want you to come and help me. You're begging them. Please help me. And then when the time comes and you have issues and suffering and a problem arises in your life, then Allah helps you. Because you've asked for it. Ask and you shall receive. Ask and you shall receive. Suffering and how we deal with suffering is how we're defined. The definition is with that. Not only that, brothers and sisters, let's take a step forward. Let's take it even higher. A beautiful narration. And if you want to see this, it's in one of the books of one of the students of Shaykh Barvary. He has this story in his book, a 10-volume book about the awliya of Allah. He speaks about the maqam of an individual that becomes awliya of Allah. Now, this is what we're supposed to strive for. Shahadat, awliya of Allah. These are maqams. These are statuses that we need to encapsulate. Now, the question is this. The story unfolds. There is a woman. She is truly one of the awliya of Allah. Rababe, her name. And there is 3 other individuals there, 3 men. And it's in a masjid, and the question arises, how do you know you're of awliya of Allah? What must you have to be an awliya of Allah? The first person says, as-sabr ta'a. To have endurance in suffering, in issues in your life. Within suffering, you have to have sabr. You have to have patience. Patience in suffering. The first man says. The second man says to him, no. Hold on a minute. That's definitely not and is not in the level of awliya of Allah. A true awliya of Allah has rida in ta'ah. Not sabr, but rida, content. Not just that they endure it. No, they have content with it. What do I mean by that? Not only do they have patience, but they are also content with this. They say, oh Allah, you sent this to me. I am happy with it. So they don't complain and moan 24/7. Yes, they're content with it. They don't complain to Allah. Allah, you've sent this, I'm happy with it. It comes from you, I'm happy with it. I don't complain. But I thank you. And when you thank, yes, you go to another rank. The third person. The third man says, we're talking about the awliya of Allah. What are you on about? Awliya of Allah. It's not rida al-ta'a. It's hubbul ta'a. It's liking, loving issues. Why? Suffering. What's wrong with you? Why would you want and love suffering? And he says, no, because this is the maqam of hubb. They love Allah and they love anything that comes from Allah. So even if it's suffering, they love it. They enjoy it. They say it comes from my beloved. It comes from the one that I love the most. So therefore I love it. I love this suffering. I take this with wholeheartedness. Why? Because it comes from Allah. Now, we would think this is game over. That's what it is, awliya of Allah. And the woman that she is awliya of Allah, she says, no, that's not what it is. Come a level higher. It's not just hubb al-ta'a. An awliya of Allah is an individual that ta'ah, these difficulties and suffering and pleasures of the world is all the same for them. For them, the difficulties of the world and the pleasures of the world is all the same. They are so immersed in Allah, they do not even pay attention, whether it be to pleasure, whether it be to pain. And she says, have you not read the Quran? When they saw a materialistic version of this, when they saw Hazrat Yusuf, they were cutting their hands. It's not that they enjoyed the cutting, the pain of the hand. It's not that they were content with it. It's not that they were keeping their pain and trying to endure it. No, they didn't notice it. See, suffering is what measures insan. That's why it says, khalaq, you have been created by this. Meaning, if you want to go through creation, if you want to exceed in creation, and that's what we're supposed to do, we're supposed to grow in creation. Because an insan is the only individual that can grow, the only creation that can grow within the universe. Your growth is with suffering. You've been created like this, the pressures of the world. And then, what does that mean? Oh, I just withstand suffering? No. How you act with that suffering. How you act. Individual comes in Ashura, and says, ahla min asal, sweeter than honey. This is a level. This is a level of understanding within that suffering. Sweeter than honey. Ma ra'aytu illa jamila. This is with suffering. It doesn't mean that the suffering doesn't exist. Of course it exists. But my mindset with that suffering is not the same as any other individual. No. I know in a way, in a journey that I must take, we're trying to go up the mountain. Go up a mountain. There will be issues while I'm going up this mountain. We're going to have cold, we're going to have a landslide, we're going to have thorns on the way, we're going to have many different problems. But I'm trying to excel. The whole point of the journey is this: to withstand the suffering, to hold on and keep moving forward. Not to be lazy. Keep moving forward. That's the key. To have persistence on this way. Okay, something happened in your lives. You fell down. Get up. Continue. The opportunities are there. We see Muharram after Ramadan. Muharram, Ramadan are passing by. These opportunities, golden opportunities for us to excel ourselves, to learn from the stories of the Ahlulbayt and the Quran, to excel ourselves. They're passing by. When is it time for me to wake up? When? When is it time for my heart to say the zikr of Allah? When? The ayah from Surah Hadid, is it not time for your heart to say the zikr of Allah? One of the most beautiful ayahs, honestly, truly. One of the stories behind this ayah is that an individual, a thief, was climbing the wall of a house. And while he was climbing the wall, when he was on top of the wall, this man, this individual within the house was reciting the surah of Hadid. The story is this ayah is in Surah Hadid. And as soon as he heard this ayah, is it not time for your heart to say the zikr of Allah? He comes to himself and he says, yes, it's time. He comes down from the wall, doesn't enter the house, goes. And the story narrates that this individual becomes one of the awliya of Allah. One sentence was enough to reach their heart, take all the pollution out, and start it pumping again. Brothers and sisters, what we want tonight, these nights of Tawbah, what we want these nights is for Abu Abdullah, by the grace of his mother, Hazrat Zahra salamullah alayha, to just purify this heart. We don't know who that individual was that read one ayah and his heart started to say the zikr of Allah. Oh Abu Abdullah, we know who you are. We know you can do miracles. We know you can change many hearts. You changed the heart of Hur. On this night, change our hearts as well. Please recite salawat on Muhammad wa al Muhammad.